The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
This is Cowboys StoryLine with Nick Eatman.
Good morning and welcome to Cowboys Storyline. I'm Nick Eatman. It's Thursday, December 28th. I want to say happy birthday to the boss, Derek Eagleton. He's not 60 yet, but he's not even close to that. But that was Chris's joke, actually. No, not funny. But I don't want to be muted again like yesterday. No, happy birthday to Derek. He's the one that runs all this show and definitely runs these podcasts. And we've been every year. I used to joke with him. I was like, "How many podcasts you want?" He's like, "I'd like to have a full day of podcasts." I'm like, "Okay, well, right now we have 2, and then there would be 3, and then 4, then." What are we up to, Chris? About 8 now. It is a full day of podcast. Chris can attest to that, and I'm this is the new show of the bunch. I don't know how many more we can add because we certainly can't fill out the day more than this. But Cowboy Storyline, I'm loving it. Even yesterday's show, it was a little crazy. Went back and watched it just to see. It was kind of tense moments every now and again. But you know what? That's okay. Cowboy fans are passionate. I am as well. We had a good time. Hopefully we can have another good-spirited show again today. All right. As for storylines going in, we're just, looking at the injuries, seeing where the Cowboys are. Jonathan Hankins, I'm not really sure he's going to be ready to go. Tyron Smith, I think, does have a good chance, and that's good for everyone, obviously, especially for this offensive line and Dak. But that's going to be a key. Obviously the Lions have a good defense, and they like to bring a lot of pressure. So guys like Aiden Hutchinson off the edge, they're going to need everybody, and certainly the Cowboys play better when Tyron is out there. It's always been the case when he's there. All right, 888-855-2297 is the number to call. We got 2 people on the line. Let's start it off. Zach in Atlanta, you're first. Zach, what's up?
Hey, good morning, Nick.
Morning.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. First time caller.
Okay.
Yes. Hey, man, I listen every day. Just grateful for all the work that y'all do online and for us with the podcast. Happy birthday to Derek.
Yeah, appreciate that.
And with me listening every day, I got to catch up on a few of your questions. So Thanksgiving, I'm throwing it back. My favorite / worst memory is Ron Dane running crazy in overtime to set up the game-winning field goal for the Broncos. That was pretty miserable, but I think the next year Romo went crazy, so it balances out.
Yeah. Terrence Newman.
Favorite football movie?
Terrence Newman.
Oh,
He dropped an interception that might have won that game. I remember that one. It was right at the end of the game. He had a chance for a pick 6. Oh, man.
Yeah.
That was an interesting game because that looked like a scrimmage. That the way the Cowboys were wearing their throwback blues and the way that Denver was wearing they had their white, it looked like a navy and white scrimmage. These two teams looked identical out there. It was really hard to figure out that. That's one thing I remember about that game too. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. You're good. Favorite movie, Longest Yard, the newer one.
Yeah.
Came out when I was growing up. Just funny, classic Sandler. Favorite Cowboy, DeMarcus Ware.
Yeah.
And I'll say Zeke's rookie year is one of my favorite seasons. I mean, just the magic of that season. I think we all had a good time in 2016.
Sure.
But we're going to start on a positive note today. You said some great things yesterday that we're playing meaningful football in December and January for the 3rd straight year. I'm 30 years old. I can't say that there's been 3 consecutive years in my fandom that this is the case. Meaningful football. I'm not ready for the draft yet.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see where this season goes. It might be the road that's pretty hard, going on the road to try and do some things we haven't done in a long time, but that's okay. We're still in this thing. We have some meaningful football this weekend, and so I'm excited. I think it's going to be a good thing. Okay. The question I have for you, so CD seems to be the focus of our offense, and rightfully so. He's just having a monster season. But what do you think it's going to look like to get other players more involved? Because I think back to the playoff game last year when Pollard went down,
Yeah.
And there was no more juice. I mean, it was gone. Even if we won that game, we talk about it a lot this past year. Who needs to step up? I mean, I love Jake Ferguson. Cooks has a role. But yeah, who would you say needs to step up and kind of be that solid number 2 to CD? And with that, I'll hang up. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Zach. Appreciate that. First time caller. I do believe that the difference from this year is Brandon Cooks and the combination of Jake Ferguson. He gives the offense more juice down the field than Dalton Schultz did last year. I think Schultz maybe a little bit better hands, maybe and better around the goal line in the red zone. I think he had 9 touchdowns last year. He had a couple in the playoffs as well. But I think that from a standpoint of getting the ball down the field and kind of being more of a playmaker, I think Ferguson gives the Cowboys more of that. And I also believe that Cooks does as well. So, Tolbert made a play on Jalen Ramsey. That was big. So, and Gallup, Gallup is Gallup. He's not making a ton of plays. He's out there. He's running routes. He's doing his thing. He'll make an occasional catch here and there. And I've said before, I'm not giving up on him. He's a guy that you wouldn't mind, having out there, just because, and I also looked at his money too for next year. I think there's a lot of people that think that he'll be gone. I think he'll probably be back for at least one more year. But the point is that I think Cooks and Ferguson give you a little bit more than just double teaming and taking CD away. But the Cowboys are doing things differently too since that 49er game this year, and they really weren't doing it last year. Where it's hard to take CD away. I know he didn't do a lot in that game in the middle of the quarters, but they weren't really taking him away. And CD kind of alluded to that the other day. So I think it's harder to just pinpoint on one player on this offense. And I think if there were an injury, knock on wood, I think they have a chance to still move the ball and make plays with the way that they're designing it. All right, Marquise is in Virginia, our next caller.
Hey, what's up, Nick?
Hey, how are you? I'm
good, man. How are you?
Great.
Hey, man, that's good. I don't know who came up with the idea for this show, but whoever did was a genius, because I'm pretty sure you're going to be in the top 2 of shows, if you're not already, allowing fans to call in on a daily basis and talk about the Cowboys, things that they do around their friends and family on a daily basis anyway. That is a genius idea.
Well,
but
it's kind of been in the works for a little bit. Like I said, I think a couple weeks ago, my dad was one of the first people to bring it to my attention, maybe 3 years ago. He said, nobody's doing a show like this for y'all. Y'all need to do this. And it took a little bit to kind of get there. But, yeah, we talked it through, and, Derek and I discussed it. And so we've kind of collaborated on it. But, yeah, I mean, and I'm glad you said that, because that's what it is for the fans to be able to voice their opinion and call in. And
right.
Sometimes, like yesterday, it can get a little heated back and forth. But like I keep saying, like, my opinion's not. I mean, I'm not the judge and jury on this. Like, you guys have an opinion, and you guys know the game. Very, very knowledgeable fan base, and the callers have been. I've been very impressed by that, by just what you guys. Just how you guys. Oh, I'm in overseas, or I'm in Seattle, or Virginia, or whatever, and you guys know just as much as people that we see covering the team every day.
Right. Hey, well, after the call, do a here you go for your dad then.
I will. We'll get one for Pops.
Like the last caller said, 12-5 or having 3 good winning seasons. We have a potential to go 12-5 for 3 years in a row. This is how you build a champion. I think Cowboys fans should really find some peace in that. I know it's been 30 years, but there hasn't been 30 years of the same team. It's new roster every year, new coaches. It's too bad that we wasted too much time on the last coach, but right now we have great coaching and we have great personnel. We just have to let it marinate and turn into a championship team, as it seems like it's about to do, Cowboy Nation. Also, I called in, I think, a week or 2 ago, spoke about moving Micah Parsons off the ball. And like you said, you really never know what's a running down, what's a passing down. But I think he was much more productive in the game being off of the ball in what they thought was obvious or what they thought might have been because having stat lines with no tackles or one tackle for a guy that's that dynamic, it's just not. It's not good for even his confidence. When you listen to his podcast and you just think about who he is as a person, he really needs to be involved, like a CeeDee Lamb on offense. Like, he needs the ball in his hands. Micah needs action. He needs to get to the ball to feel like he's a part of the team. And I also wanted to say that I really think we're going to win this week. I think we're a better team. I'll give credence to their O-line, but I just think we're a better team. We're at home. Yes, Jimmy is coming, and those ceremonies, like Big Nate said, doesn't always work out for us, closing Texas Stadium and so on and so forth. But I just think we're a better team, and I really don't think that we're as down and out as losing 2 games in a row may seem like, for the fans. So I really look forward to us going out there, not only winning, but probably dominating and making, regardless of Detroit's record, making people question whether or not they're a legit playoff contender. And, last thing, I know we ain't at that point yet, but offensive tackle, linebacker, running back, those are my 3 first rounds for the draft, man, so that we can just keep building on the championship.
All right.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you. All right. Lots a lot going on in that call. Thank you, Marquise. This is to keep it moving. I agree with a lot of that. I mean, again, not ready to talk draft just yet, and I'm not sure what a Cowboys win would do for Detroit. I mean, Detroit's kind of hard to figure out because I think for them, they're all, a lot of fans just still kind of see the Lions, and it's hard to kind of take them seriously. Now, their record is serious, and they're a good team, and they're probably, beating a lot of teams that maybe have that attitude. But I think for sure that the Lions are a team that can come in here and win this game. They proved it last year at the end of the season, and I think that kind of carried them on to this year. So should be a fun game Saturday night for sure. All right, Bobby in Dallas is our next call.
Hey, Nick, first-time caller here.
All right, hey, Bobby.
How we doing? Let's see. Favorite all-time Cowboy, I think I got to say Dez Bryant. That's just my prime years. I would say random Cowboy would be same period. I would say Lance Dunbar. He was the one. I feel like he was always on the cusp there of kind of like breaking free.
Yeah.
I think Jerry really liked him. We always schemed for him. I think he just couldn't stay healthy.
Yeah. He's little. He's a little guy, and it's hard. It's hard to have a long career with that kind of body type, But yeah, he was dynamic, when he could get the ball. But you're right, he didn't stay healthy that often.
Yeah, maybe that'll be Deuce Vaughn, but we'll see. I think my main point here, my main kind of question that I'd like your thoughts on, I feel like in past years we were able to kind of succumb, fighting back throughout some of our games when we were down early, and I feel like the key difference this season is the early miscues, right? I think if you think of three of our key losses, right? With San Fran, I think we had that kind of like that crazy fumble that didn't go our way that we couldn't recover. With Bills, I think it was the early penalties, and then obviously this past week with the fumble at the goal line. I feel like those early miscues are really what kills this team. I feel like we can fight back if it's more about competing with their offense or defense, but. I wonder from a coaching perspective, right? I know McCarthy tends to be a little bit more laid back throughout the course of the week, and that's I think with vets like Tyron and stuff that works. But how do we fix that? Aside from coaching these guys not to make the penalties, not to fumble the ball, and I feel like maybe McCarthy's lax approach, might serve the team. Might be the cause of some disservice to the team here. So just kind of want your thoughts on that.
All right. I think why they play 17 games is to have a big sample size of what what this team really is, and so you're right on the losses. And you go back and look at Arizona game as well. I mean, I don't know if it's about miscues early, but kind of defensive breakdowns, letting Dobbs go, around the edge for a big gain and things like that. So, but the games that they've won, I think the Cowboys are I don't have it in front of me. I know that they've outscored their opponents by a lot in the first quarter, and definitely in the first half. So, for the most part, I think this team has come out and ready to play and played well and kind of jumped on teams early. When that doesn't happen, yeah, that can be a problem, and that's a lot of games. When in this league, you build a lead, you get momentum, and you kind of play that way. And so, the Cowboys in the games that they've lost, they've hadn't gotten off to the great start and had to kind of claw their way back. Sometimes they can, but a lot of times they don't. You look at like that Chargers game, which I think that game kind of fooled us a little bit. We thought this team was a little different because we thought the Chargers were different. But if you go back and watch that game, the Chargers took the ball, went right down the field and scored like quickly. And I think the Cowboys went 3 and out. Then the Chargers scored, and you're thinking, oh man, Kellen's in his bag. It's going to be all day long. And then the Cowboys were able to kind of withstand that early punch, and Dak scored and all that. So I'm just saying, I think you're right. You're looking for a trend in the losses, and that is one. But I don't know if it's one where you would say this is what they are, because I think the offense has been good, or this team has been good in the first half and even in the first quarter. So that's the key. They can do that more often than not, and I think it happens a lot at home. Then certainly, that would help them get some momentum that they need to carry on. All right, Brian in Kansas City is our next call. Brian.
Good morning, Nick.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm all right, sir. Hey, I was listening to one of the previous callers and asking, who's our number 2? Who's got to be the big number 2 behind CD, because he's such a clear number 1. And, in watching, it seems to me like it's Ferguson is the guy. And he's the one with the attitude. He's getting up and
a little swag.
Yeah, he's in people's faces. He's signaling the first down, and nobody's going to have more attitude than him on the field. So I think that's what has to continue to keep some of the pressure off of CD so he can get open. And like you said, they're lining him up everywhere, which helps us a lot in getting him open, even though everybody knows he's going to get the ball.
Right.
So, hey, I wanted to just say this is a time of year maybe we all reflect a little bit and look back. I want to just say thank you for the show. A lot of times at the end of the day, when I look back and say, what do I have to be grateful for?
Right.
I look back and I say, I got to talk to my friends Chris Beam and Nick Eatman and hear my fellow fans. So thank you again, and have a great day, brother.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate that. Good stuff. I think, you're right. The perspective of this show, and we have a good time with it. Like I've said, it's always been fun, and we celebrate the first time callers all the time, but really this show, the backbone of the show, is the ones that call a lot and provide good perspective, and you guys kind of tend to know each other a little bit. You kind of know, maybe you follow each other on social media, but also, when you call, you kind of know what to expect, and that's been a really fun part for me. So I don't want to put you guys and think that we don't care about the ones that call all the time, because those are the ones that really make the show, and guys like Brian as well. Ronnie in New Jersey, same thing. Ronnie is up next.
Good morning, Nick. How you been?
Good. How are you doing, man?
Not too bad.
Okay.
Nick, I wanted to ask you. I heard about how Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones, they send in to the committee about all the holding calls that haven't been called on Micah Parsons. Is there anything that can come from that? Because from what I heard, 38 quarters without Micah Parsons getting a holding call. 38 quarters without getting a holding call. And how is that even possible when the guy with a white hat is right in front of him? He sees the hold. He's right in front of the quarterback. He's looking at him. The hold, they're so obvious. Is there any repercussions that these guys, or is this just whatever? They missed it.
They missed it. Yeah, that's it. I mean, they missed it. I mean,
38 quarters.
I don't have an answer for you. I really don't. I mean, he's I don't know where he ranks in the league in pressures, but he's got over 80. That's probably one of the, it's probably leading the NFL if it's not, and that's a little tricky because teams that can figure out they decide on their own what a pressure is. So I don't know if it's an official stat, but he's all over the quarterback and he never gets a holding call. So yeah, I cannot give you an answer on that.
But what I'm saying is, it's like for us, it's upsetting as a fan to see it. I mean, when I watch the games on TV, I see them. And they're obvious, and the ref is right there, and they look at him. I see their eyes focus on him, and they don't throw the flag. I mean, that's where I start thinking, like, listen, we have all types of fans. There's some fans that have conspiracy theories and all this stuff. That's where I'm like, man, like, it's got to be something against the Cowboys, because it's more like against us that I see that they miss calls like that, and against a player that's this great and always attacking, and he's always being held. Face mask. I mean, their guys are putting their hands on his face mask, and they don't call this. But yet, if it's one of the Cowboys, we were to do that to one of their players, like, they'll throw the flag. That's where it's upsetting. And like this last game, man, they held them so much, and I can't believe that they didn't throw one flag. And these were game-changing plays where this guy Tua was getting off the ball by like a split second, and the guy's being held. Come on, man.
Well,
that's why, like, it's just upsetting as a fan.
Well, it's upsetting for Micah too, and maybe he's. I have to think that him talking as much as he has is not helping things. It just doesn't. Should that be the case? No, but it is. It is. I mean, he did it again yesterday, so he's still talking about it, and that's just kind of, but it hasn't helped. It hasn't helped. I mean, it seems like the extra awareness for the officials. I mean, it's nothing's really happened with this, so maybe it will. All right, let's go to Irwin in Denver. Is that our next call, Irwin?
Hey, Nick, what's going on?
How are you doing?
Doing great. Hey, well, I've been kind of listening to some of these callers talking about Micah Parsons not getting the calls and everything. And I mean, it's clearly obvious what's going on there. I think the biggest thing that could help Micah Parsons is these other guys, these other defensive linemen stepping up and doing their job and kind of helping out. Because it really seems like the last few games that we really haven't seen that pass rush, from what we really saw at the beginning of the season. I mean, really, if you think about these other guys, they need to start doing a better job of holding up their side of the bargain, and helping Micah Parsons out a little bit.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And, someone called yesterday and said DeMarcus Lawrence is the best defensive lineman on the team and all that, and he stops the run. But somebody's got to step up because he's getting double-teamed. Micah's getting double-teamed. Micah's getting a lot of attention, obviously. And you're not seeing it across the line of somebody else needs to be taking advantage of this. 5.5 sacks for Dorrance Armstrong. It's still kind of a quiet 5.5 sacks. D-Law's got 4. Fowler, Sam Williams. I mean, where are these guys? These guys need to be stepping up as well. And so I agree with you. I think that's something that's getting lost in all this.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Hey, thanks a lot for taking my call, Nick.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
All right. Have a good one. Thank you, Irwin. All right. Let's keep it rolling here. We got Ali. Ali's on the line. I think he's traveling. He's in Africa.
Hi, Nick.
What's up?
Happy holiday. Wishing you best health for you and family.
Thank you.
I'm currently in Masai Mara National Park in Kenya.
Kenya. Wow.
Yeah, so I'm a wildlife photographer.
Wow.
But the Cowboy Nation, good news. It's around 7:30 here. Today, it was the Pride of Lions. They got up late in the afternoon. They were going to go hunting, and they come across a bunch of buffaloes.
Uh-huh.
And all the buffaloes, they got together and chased all the lion out, so they couldn't get to eat. I know Cowboys going to win this Saturday.
All right, because they were chasing the lions.
Yeah, buffalo together, the lion doesn't go near them. Individually, yes. But if the team they play together.
Wait, hold on. Was it a pack of lions or just one lion? Because if it's one lion, Micah's the lion. But if it's a team of lions, that's a good thing, right?
No, it's a pride. Usually they have a bunch of decoys, and they have one or two big hunters. They're mostly female.
Okay.
So I think I counted 14 or 15 lions together, of young ones, but they usually succeed. But the buffaloes want no part of it.
Okay.
So I think that was. So I've got a couple of pointers for you, and I've got a trivia.
Okay.
I haven't watched the past two games. I've been out of the country. I think Pollard is going to have a great game. The guy's been insulted. I saw a little highlight. He's going to get in the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if the Cowboys keep running the ball, they're going to give a less position to Detroit. And time of position is very key. Second, I think personally, McCarthy deserved the second year or second chance because Dak never played this good under any coaches. So we got a great coaches, but at the same time, I think it's too early to say get rid of this, get rid of that. We are lucky. Usually, like the previous caller, we got to build with what we have and enjoy the ride. And here is my trivia. The Cowboys is the only team that went to playoff for either 19 or 20 years, except these two playoffs. One was 1974, and what was the second? At the same time, which team did beat them in last minute of the game to kick the Cowboys out of the playoff?
In 74?
No, 74, it was 1 year. Between the 20 years, they missed two playoffs.
Yeah.
One was 74, and one, you got to
84? No.
Yeah.
84?
Yeah, perfect. And which team beat them in the last minute of the game?
Oh, man. I don't know. I don't know if it's. I don't think it's Washington. Philly?
No.
Philly?
Dolphins.
Oh, Dolphins. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my first game. I went to Miami.
That's right. That was 28-21 on Monday Night Football. Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. I forgot that was the last game of the season. Knocked them out of the playoffs. That was a weird game.
Yeah, super. It's just like I was so sick as a dog driving home. It was it's so when you go to this event, it just breaks your heart when they lose, you know?
Yeah.
But anyways,
all right.
Love you, bro.
Good call.
I appreciate it, and we talk soon.
All right, have a good one. Thank you for the call, Ali. Safe travels there in Africa. Watch out for those lions. That's what the Cowboys are trying to do here. Bob is in Rio Grande Valley. Probably a little different than Africa.
Yeah, Nick, most definitely. I look out my window here and I see the big green jays playing around the theater. I don't see any lions or hyenas or buffalo.
No. That's what I love about this show. It's all over the place, all over the map, literally.
A couple of things. First of all, I want to pay you a compliment. I want to compliment you for your patience.
Oh man, no one's ever done that.
Some of these phone calls that you were getting yesterday. I'll tell you what. I don't know how you do it. The steam would have been rolling out my ears.
Yeah.
But, here's the second thing. And this is what I'm looking at for the remainder of the season, and I'm very optimistic. First of all, there's a difference between us and San Francisco. San Francisco is scooping up every player that they can. They're trying to buy a championship. The Cowboys, they're trying to build a team to win a championship. And we knew at the start of the season that we didn't have a lot of depth in some areas, that we had a lot of youth, not a lot of experience, and we were going to be dependent upon staying healthy. And I think a lot of the game planning and calling and whatever has been in the area of trying to keep us healthy. And I think pretty much McCarthy's done a good job of doing that.
Right.
This is a big game coming up. It is. I took a lot of excuse me.
You all right?
Yes, sir. I took a lot of solace in the last game against Miami. We very well had a good chance of putting it together there and winning that ball game. We just happened to score a little bit too soon. That's all.
Yeah.
And against the Lions, I think I think we match up very well against them. I think there's a good chance that we're going to beat them and beat them resoundingly. And so we're going to have to go on the road for the playoffs. We know that already. Well, here's the situation football is a game of inches, and it's also a game of which way the ball bounces. All we need in the playoffs is to get that break against a good team on the road, and all of a sudden, flash, the team catches fire, and they could go all the way. We don't know. That's the reason why we're fans. That's the reason why we follow the Cowboys. And I tell you what, win or lose, I'm going to follow your show because I think it's a damn good one. Have a great day, Bob.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Bob. Yep. It's, it's one of those things where, it's how the ball bounces. Well, it's what you were just saying. You do look at some of these losses and just weird plays happen, and twice this year in games that they've lost, they've been, inside the 1 yard line, in the 1 inch line, it seems like, and didn't score. Schoonmaker's touchdown that got called back against Philly when he just didn't get in. And then, of course, Pollard as well. And then you look at those games and how one possession, losses and how they come back to haunt you, And, if you go back and think last year's game against Detroit, we focus on the wins. On the losses and the plays that didn't happen in the losses. But sometimes you kind of forget plays like that happen in your wins too. And if you remember that Detroit game last year, middle of the year, it was the first game Dak came back from the thumb injury, and Micah Parsons made a play where he chased down the tight end right at the 1 yard line. And then the next play, they forced a fumble at the 1. I think it was Tank that came in there and they forced a fumble. And that changed the whole course of that game. And the Cowboys were kind of reeling a little bit there. So just remember that it kind of it should balance out. It doesn't always balance out, but a lot of times when you think, man, these ball doesn't bounce their way, sometimes it does. There's some games, I'm sure you can go back and there's games that they've won this year that a play or two here and there, or a penalty early in the game kind of changed the course of it. So obviously with the Cowboys losing 2 straight, they'd like to, change that course this week. All right, Omar, he's in Mexico City. What's up, Omar?
Hey, Nick. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
All good. Thank you. First-time caller.
All right.
Let me start with some flowers. It's amazing the job you're doing with the show. It's so good to hear from other fans around the world, around the country, and
Sure.
in my case, from Mexico City. Yeah, so congrats. It's really good. You're making a cultural society, and it's really nice. And second, a quick story. I got to meet you and Brian Brothers in London, actually, back in 2014.
Oh, okay.
So that was... Yeah, I was living in London at the time. I've been a huge fan my entire life. And I was there studying the year, and I got to the walkthrough they did at the stadium and the game. And actually, also a shout-out to the UK fans. They're doing an amazing job.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it was a lot of fun. So also, guys, if you have any cool stories from that trip. And second, it's really nice from Jerry that he gave a shout-out to Mexico, saying that if the Cowboys get to play elsewhere, it would be Mexico City. For sure won't be next year, but maybe in 2 years. And it's crazy, the fandom here in Mexico. They love the Cowboys. You see gear all over the place. So I'm sure it's going to be a nice home field for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Once again, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Omar. Appreciate it. We haven't played in Mexico City in 20-something year, 22 years. I think it was 2001. Cowboys played a preseason game there. I got the first time I went to Mexico. Only time I've been to Mexico, I think. And played the Raiders there. That was interesting. Just that stadium, and we played 5 preseason games that year. I think we played the Raiders twice in the preseason that year. One of them
we did
in Oakland, and then and then down there in Mexico. But it was back-to-back years where we went international in Tokyo in 2000 and in Mexico in 2001, and we've there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of talk about maybe going to London again, or maybe Brazil's on there, and Mexico City. That would be wild though, to play a regular season game in Mexico. The fans, it would go crazy. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see if the Cowboys have a chance to do that, and be also be neat to travel again overseas for sure. All right, Arthur in Spring, Texas.
Good morning, Nick. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Hope you and your family have had a great holiday, and
all right.
Continue and hope that you have a prosperous new year.
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to throw a big curve.
Right.
There was a conversation going on the break the other day about Mazi and the amount of weight that he's lost. Obviously, he's not heavy enough to be able to play on the interior of the defensive line. And it seems like to me that, okay, he's already coming down on his weight. I was thinking, what about letting him continue this downward decline on his weight? Maybe let him try to settle in at about somewhere between 250 and 260, 65, and put him at a linebacker spot. And his containment area would be from tackle to tackle. I mean, because it's obvious that he's having issues with coming off of the ball on time, so put him in a position where he doesn't have to be concerned with whether or not quickness matters, that you just put him in a spot where all he's doing is running from tackle to tackle and making sure that nobody leaks through, and he don't have enough strength to keep big guardsmen, big tackles off of it. So,
all right,
like I said, it's a moonshot.
Yeah,
it's an idea. Yeah.
That's a curve. It's a curveball, like you said. I'm gonna like I would do with a real curveball. I'm gonna swing and miss on this one. I'm gonna miss that. I don't see that because he's a young player, and these defensive linemen, defensive tackles, they got to figure this out, and it's not easy to do. I don't think you do a dramatic drop to linebacker, and also linebacker is a different position too. There's an awareness factor here, and you've got to study. You've got to. It's a different position, especially for a guy that has already said he didn't like football. Now, whether or not that was tongue in cheek, I don't know. I didn't like the comment when I heard it. He said, "I like to hit people. I don't like to play football. I don't like football. I just like to hit people." Maybe he was joking. I don't know, but that didn't really sit well with me because it takes a commitment 7 days a week to be a good football player, and to be a linebacker, to be a defensive tackle is completely different. He's there. He's just got to. They're just figuring out. With every defensive lineman, it's. Do you need a little less weight here? Do you need more weight? What do you need to be effective? And I don't know if the strength and the weight is really the issue as much as it is getting off the ball, recognizing things, and playing linebacker. To me, just doesn't seem like that would be. That is very far-fetched. I don't think he's anywhere close to that. I think that they're still figuring out where they're going to play him at tackle, and also that he wouldn't have the kind of speed and agility that you want at that position. I mean, you need guys to be able to chase sideline to sideline. It would be a different position for sure. He's going to be a defensive tackle. They're going to have to get him at the right spot, right weight, and all that, so he can play it. All right. Anthony in Miami is next.
Nick, what's going on, my dude?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. 2 days off, man, after working all these 12s. I tell you, I'm tired, man. Then going out of town last week, even though it was a great trip, you know. I just wanted to back-to-back to say something, listening to the calls, listening to the show live today.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying the calls. I enjoy the calls on my shows, which are Storyline and Hanging with the Boys. 7 years strong, hanging the boys from day one. And watching you on there was like the icing on the cake because I always said you were one of my favorites. And then for me to have an impact with you the first time, you know what I'm saying, you were on there and for it to carry. I just want to throw this out there to Cowboys Nation. Even when I spark plugged this thing with you, I talked about me and my love for the Cowboys and what I expected. Y'all got to remember, Cowboy fans, you know what I'm saying, the ones who are always optimistic. But I'm going to put you to the side for a minute. But the ones who are kind of down and we've never seen anything, and we're young, you guys are old, and you've seen Super Bowls, you see the Cowboys damn near every week on TV. If you've ever been in that stadium, you know it's electric.
Yep.
You know the love for us. If that doesn't do it for you and we're still winning, I don't know what is. The teams that just won Super Bowls haven't won. The Chiefs supposed to be the next dynasty. Well, they're not really a true dynasty because they got two and they're kind of falling off unless they come bounce back. But they haven't won in over, 50 years. The team you just played, over 50 years since you beat them in 71. Then they went 72, 73. The Eagles, your rivals, never really won nothing. And the 49ers, they haven't won one since you won one, 95 and 94. What I'm trying to say is the Cowboys have a chance, man, to do something great. They still have a chance to win the Super Bowl. The 49ers are not unbeatable. We got to stop saying if we get there, we're done. We are done. We are out. Let's not even play because they're going to beat us. How? They've been, but they haven't won. So stop thinking they're world beaters. You know what I'm saying? Now the media, look at our shows. Look at the shows. I said I listen to all the shows. I am so impressed by Nick Egan. I'm so impressed by Kyle. I love my show, my guys, Jess, Nate, Kurt, Shannon, and Broad. I love Broadus, Mr. Broadus. Mm-hmm. And one more person I love, and y'all need to watch her and listen to her, and I love how Broadus is taking her under her wing. That's young Miss Aisha. We get information. We're ready for Cowboys games. That's what you don't listen to the hate on the national shows. Listen to our shows. Build up our media. And that's all I want to say, man. Let's enjoy this ride, man. Let's enjoy this ride. Thank y'all for doing what y'all do for us. And Bean, love you, Bean.
All right. Thank you, Anthony. Good call. You're right. A lot of different voices on our shows all day long. And I said that earlier about the creator of all this, Derek. It's his birthday today. I want to some people don't hear the first of the show, so I want to make sure and put that out there. I appreciate that, and you're right. We got a lot of different voices, and top to bottom, on each day. And you're right. Aisha is doing a really good job there. She's in the locker room every time it's open, and she hustles. She goes and talks to anyone that's there at their locker. There's no way. Her and Jess Navarez, nobody talks to more people in the locker room than those two. So they really do, and they take it to the show and provide a good insight there with Nicole Hutchison and Christy Scale. So yeah, that show's doing really well. Girls Talk, Boys Talk, and it's the anchor of the shows all day long. It's the last one of the day, but they certainly do a good job. All right, let's go with Tony in Atlanta. Tony.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Nick, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, man, how you doing?
Great. How about yourself?
Great.
Good. So I want to give a tribute since it's Derek's birthday. I want to give him a tribute, an ode to him. And then I'm going to give an ode to another .com contributor, Jock Taylor. So the ode to Derek is this. I know how much you terribly miss Derek's daily season 15 episodes, 31 of the break.
Yeah.
I know how much you terribly miss it. So in the tribute to Derek, I'm just going to, every time I call in, I'm gonna tell you how many times I've called.
Okay,
so
what is this?
This is call number 3 for me.
All right,
so I don't get a signal or anything like that for call number 3, but it's call number 3. So that's my tribute to Derek.
Yeah.
All right, so my tribute to JJT is this. He has a thing that he regularly uses, which is sports is fluid, right? So 3 weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, there was a whole lot, well, not a lot of discussion, but there was a report about a McCarthy extension, right? I mean, 10-3, we're riding high, and everything was just lovely. Now we've lost 2 games in a row. We're 10-5, and I'm listening to the fan this morning and another contributor, Bobby and Choppy, are talking about a list, of potential coaching casualties at the end of the year. And while he was not near the top of the list, McCarthy's name was on it, somewhat lower than, some of the expected, like Washington and so forth. So I say that, and it got me to thinking, like, as crazy as it sounds, Detroit's going to be a tough out, even though it's a home game. We're tough at home. They're going to be a tough out this Saturday. And then we know, in Washington, crazy things happen up there, right? So there's a crazy chance that we can lose 4 games in a row to end the regular season. And then, we're going on the road in the tournament. Could be at Tampa Bay, could be at New Orleans, wherever it is. And, there's no gimme that we're going to win that game. And then there's the possibility, as crazy as it sounds, and I'm optimistic. I'm not, pessimistic.
Doesn't sound like it. It sounds like you got them in a 5-game losing streak.
But, just what they were talking about this morning just got me to thinking about, just that possibility. It's not far-fetched at all. And, losing 5 games in a row, it got me to thinking, like, okay, I like the program that McCarthy has built, right? I mean, I think it's a solid program over the course of the last, even if you include the COVID year, that was bad. But the program and what he's built, I feel like has been good. And I feel like even if something like that were to happen, I feel like you just let the program build, right?
Yeah.
But I just wonder if Jerry, Steven, and, they make the decisions, really Jerry for the most part, but him and Steven, they make the decisions, and would they just be taken over by a 5-game losing streak on the heels of feeling so good about things? Would they just pull a trigger, just in my mind, overreacting, and maybe even overcorrecting to keeping Garrett, for all of those years, which to me, I never felt like Garrett was there too long, but that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
But I just want to get your thoughts.
All right. Well, thanks for the call, Tony. That's kind of, that would be a bad thing, obviously, to lose 5 straight games and to end the season when you're 10-3. So yeah, that would be bad, and that would change the narrative. It would change perspective. So I can't tell you what that would look like. It wouldn't be good. I mean, whatever list that you're talking about, he would be on it, and he would be on it higher, because we know that was been an issue, is that that they need to take another step, and they certainly wouldn't do that. How it ends is obviously going to be, that's the case for every team, and that's trying to make decisions in the offseason, whether it be changing their coach or their quarterback or just other key personnel moves. It's all about how it ends and what you have to go into the next season, and what do you have to sell to your fan base and your sponsors and all that stuff. So yeah, it's big. But as it stands right now, this team is I don't know, they're not riding high. They've lost 2 in a row, but they're in good position, and I think they're one of the best teams in the NFL. That's what it looks like right now. So, but yeah, you lose this game, and if you lost to Washington, and because you got to remember, if you lose this game and Philly wins, then you can't win the division. You can't go anywhere worse than 5. So really, the Washington game wouldn't matter. You're going to play Cooper Rush, maybe Trey Lance, and that's probably what's gonna happen. And just get yourself ready for the playoff game. So, but let's end all that and win this week, and then we'll not have to worry about it. All right, Brian in New York's our last caller. Brian.
Hey, Nick, how you doing?
Good. What is up?
Listen. I've been a fan since 1981.
Okay.
I've been listening to you since you've been on the air. I just wanted to tell you a quick story.
Okay.
Favorite player is Emmitt Smith. Favorite football movie is Remember the Titans.
Yep.
I flew down in 2001, the first game after 9/11 against the Chargers. And I pulled into the parking lot a couple days before the game. I got a chance to meet Preston Pearson, wear his Super Bowl ring for a minute or two. Real nice guy. Had on my Randy White jersey, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
Walking around, some of the players were collecting money for the Salvation Army for 9/11, and I got a chance to take a photograph with the offensive line, Solomon Page and a few of the other guys.
Okay.
I walked into the pro shop, and somebody had ordered a custom Larry Allen jersey, the blue one. Never picked it up. They gave it to me for half price.
Nice.
And as I'm walking out of the pro shop, here comes Larry Allen. Walked up to him, told him I was from New York. His mouth dropped. Signed my jersey, took pictures with me, stood there and talked to me for about 5 minutes.
Whoa. 5-minute conversation with Larry Allen?
5 minutes.
I don't know, man. You were looking good until that 5 minutes with Larry Allen.
I'm serious.
I covered him for about 8 years. I talked to him for 2. Sorry.
5-minute conversation
That's
with
great.
Larry Allen. One of the nicest guys you ever want to meet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I just wanted to say one other thing, something I disagree with you said earlier.
Okay.
I think Micah needs to complain because this doesn't change if he doesn't complain. Him staying quiet about not getting holding calls won't change it. He has to complain about it. That's the only way it's ever going to change.
Well, maybe there's a better way to do it then. Maybe there's a better way to say it and don't call him out as much as he's done.
That I agree with, but this thing has to continue.
Well,
because it's ridiculous. 38 straight quarters is ridiculous.
Well, just keep going to the quarterback. Just keep doing his thing, and he said he's not going to flop. He doesn't flop. He doesn't put his hands up. Not going to do that because that to him gives up on the play, and he feels like he's going to keep going, and I appreciate that. But yeah,
first time call too. So let me get here we go.
There we go. All right, Brian. Appreciate that.
Nick.
Thanks for the call. Talked about that Charger game. That was that halftime of that game was a Ring of Honor ceremony for Bullet Bob Hayes, which many people thought took a long time for him to get into the Ring of Honor. Speaking of, Jimmy Johnson going into the Ring of Honor Saturday night. It's been a long time as well. Jimmy and Jerry will get together, and I'll have a press conference, I think, before the game. This should be interesting to hear some stories and kind of hear how all this finally came together. Many of you guys think there's a curse that'll be lifted. We'll see. I don't believe in that, but I do think it'll be, he's definitely deserving to be in the Ring of Honor, and so that's where he's going to be. And also, speaking of a long time, Darren Woodson, who's been on the show a few times, congratulations to him. He's a finalist, once again, for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. 15 finalists, modern era finalists, and that'll be pared down to 10, and then maybe he's a part of the 5. If you look at the list, there's a chance. There's a chance for Darren to get in this year, and he's right there on the doorstep, and we're all going to be pulling for him, for Woody to get to the Hall of Fame. All right, that's it for Cowboys Storyline today. We'll be back tomorrow to talk one more time about Cowboys and Lions, get you ready for that game. For Chris Beam, I'm Nick Eatman. We'll see you tomorrow on Storyline.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?